This is Jason Hatfield, and you're listening to Sean and Chris on the Geeks Talk Back podcast.
By the power of Grayskull,
we're sending you back to the future.
Go! Okay, man, let's turn and burn.
Force is strong with this one.
The plaque for the alternate is down in the ladies' room.
And welcome back to the Geeks Talk Back podcast. This is episode number 8, and I am Sean.
I'm Chris.
Who is literally phoning it in as he's at his house on Skype. And tonight we'll be talking about con survival, as in Comic-Con, not Wrath of. And also we'll finish up with The Karate Kid, Daniel is the Real Bully. It's a video on YouTube by J. Matthew Turner. And
I just watched it again, and it's awesome.
It
gets better the more you watch it.
it really does. So let's just get right to it, and we will start off with con survival. And Chris actually did his homework this time and asked that we jot down a few things, and I wrote down 5 and he wrote down 23, so he made up for his past shortcomings. So go ahead, Chris. Go ahead and start it off.
All right, well, we're going to preface this whole conversation by saying I don't think that I would consider ourselves con veterans. However, we're not rookies.
No.
We went to the, as I put it, I put a post on our website, and it went out to Twitter and Facebook. We have tamed the beast that is the mecca of cons, in my opinion, San Diego Comic-Con.
Our first try.
That was our first try, thanks to me and my random number god generator. We in first try for 2014, so we're 2 years removed at this point. We figured out, hey, you know what, we're going, and we actually put in. We both work for the same place. We put in our vacation request. There was a lot of hoopla regarding that, but we won't get into that. And we got the hotels, we paid for the hotels and everything like that before we even got tickets. Now, if anybody has ever tried to go to San Diego Comic-Con, you'll realize a couple of things. First off is that the hotels jack up their prices ridiculously during the week of Comic-Con. A hotel that normally goes for, say $99, $100 a night, really close to the con is jacked up to like $300 or $400. Now, Sean and I are neither one of us are rich. We do okay, but we're not rich. And I'm sorry, but spending $300 a night for the course of 4 nights or 5 nights for the con was just out of the question. So we ended up. Do you remember how far away from the actual con we were? Was it like 5 miles?
It was something like that, but we took the trolley, and I think it took about, I don't know, probably 30 minutes ride with all the stops.
Yeah, maybe that. It wasn't bad at all. But so we paid for a hotel. We were a little bit off the beaten path, actually, by quite a ways. But we got a reasonably priced.
We're actually in a different town, technically.
Correct. But down in Southern California, it's like you take a step and you're in a different town. So that's
fair enough.
That's neither here nor there. But so I'm kind of getting a little bit off topic, but we got a little bit cheaper hotel. I think it ended up being like $100 a night. It was a dive. We've already told the Sean spitting on the guy story.
Okay, we're done. We're done with that one.
We're done with that one. So we paid for literally $500-$600 for 5 nights before we even had tickets. And then if you haven't tried to get Comic-Con tickets for San Diego, you basically go into a pool and you hope to get randomly. We got in first time as new people. And we got our 4 days right off the bat. It was awesome. We were jumping up and down and yelling like little schoolgirls. So we've been to that one. We did the San Diego Comic-Con, like I said, which I think is the mecca. And then last year we went to Salt Lake City Comic-Con in Utah, which is a little bit smaller. Actually, it's significantly smaller, but it's growing. It's not, we're hoping to get back to New York Comic-Con. I don't know if that's going to happen. Is New York Comic Con literally would be $5 for us to fly from the West just for a plane ticket each.
Yeah, and New York
And
Comic Con, that's like climb Mount Everest. That's like a bucket list. That's not this year, not next year. That's eventually, someday.
Well, they already pulled the Powerball numbers for tonight. It's like $1.5 billion. If we win, I swear to God, this year we're going.
Okay, yeah.
We're gonna go.
All right. If we win Powerball, yeah, we're going.
We're definitely going. That's gonna be our job for like the next 5 years, is just to go to the various cons around the country. That's what I'm doing. I'm quitting. I'm gonna say, hey, this is what I'm doing for the next 5 years. I'll see you when I get back. And then you've been to the, WizardCon in Reno, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
And you've gone 2 years in a row?
I went 2 years in a row. The first year I went, it was actually my first date technically with Tammy, and I think I was just enamored with her more than anything else because it was really awesome. And then we went this year and it sucked ass. It's really lacking in every possible way. Having gone to San Diego and then Salt Lake City,
because that was right after Salt Lake City, right?
What's that?
Like a month later.
Yeah,
the one in Reno was like a month after we got back from Salt Lake.
Yeah, or 2 months. It was November, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, it's, I don't want to say it's even growing, because when we're in when we're in San Diego, we saw, I don't know, maybe 50% of what we wanted to see, and it took us all 4 days. And Salt Lake City, we saw everything we saw it all in 3 days. And in Reno, we saw everything twice in 2 hours.
Well, but the problem with San Diego is that there was a number of things we wanted to see that we couldn't see only because the scheduling conflicted.
That's true.
Some of that stuff, we had to choose, hey, do you want to go see this or this, So we did have to, kind of figure out, hey, I'd rather go see this than this, and kind of do a little bit of negotiating back and forth. Although for most of the stuff we were on the same page, but whereas in Salt Lake, they didn't have too many seminars or too many talks or things that we wanted to see.
Right.
Or panels or whatever you want to call them.
Well, and one thing with Salt Lake City, and I should probably say this right off, we're not endorsed or sponsored or anything by Salt Lake Comic Con at all, but it seems like where San Diego falls short, Salt Lake City really runs with it. I mean, you're talking about the panels we didn't see and conflicts and everything else. Most of it, we really couldn't tell where we were going until probably 2 weeks before. So
I want to say it was less than that.
Yeah, and not everything on the website was even on the programs. I mean, the program was like a phone book of what was available, and we were saying, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to see this, I want to see that. Oh, actually, what it was, I think it was they were put out there what was going to be there, but not the dates or times.
Correct, and that's one of the major downfalls for Comic-Con or for San Diego Comic-Con is that you buy the tickets
ahead of time
for individual days or all 4 days or 2 days or whatever, but you buy those tickets prior to the schedule coming out. So if you're a big Trekkie and everything's on, what is it, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think, or something like that.
Right.
But if everything Star Trek related is on a Friday, you don't know that until after you've already bought your ticket. So if you're a hardcore Trekkie and you bought, the only day you could buy is, Sunday, you basically wasted your ticket because now you're not going to see anything you wanted to see because that was all on Friday and you can't get in. That's a major, major downfall that I think they need to really, really consider doing, is putting out at least a semi-schedule prior to having all these people, bitch and complain about the tickets.
Exactly.
Whereas honestly, with San Diego, it's honestly a crapshoot whether or not you get tickets. Whereas with Salt Lake, we didn't have any issues.
No, you go to the website, but add to cart and you're there.
Yeah, there's no lottery or whatever they're calling it, or lobby where you have to wait and hope you get picked. It's you go to the website, you buy it. And last I checked, I don't recall what the numbers were off the top of my head, but Salt Lake this last year is pushing close to what San Diego is getting as far as attendance is concerned. And I think one advantage for some reason is San Diego Comic-Con is limited by the size of the San Diego Convention Center.
Yeah, but one thing that San Diego kind of excels in, or I don't say excels, but where they actually are more beneficial is that it's right downtown and it's very compact, and there's lots of other venues there outside the main hall. You know, all the clubs and the restaurants and everything. They all, you know, they all join in. They all have, you know, they all host different events and everything. So it's almost like the whole downtown area pretty much, you know, gets involved in Comic-Con. So it's, you know,
absolutely.
So the experience isn't just limited to, you know, the event center. It's the whole town is involved in it. So San Diego is awesome in its own right, but there are a lot of shortcomings. And I think Salt Lake City is also awesome in its own right, but they're actually, you know, two different experiences. And as far as this convenience goes, and maybe it's because, you know, we're getting older, I don't know, I almost prefer Salt Lake City over San Diego.
A little bit. I mean, neither one of us are you know, we're both, you know, Sean's pushing 40. I'm in my mid 30s.
No, I am 40.
Well, I was trying to be nice. You know, I'm going to be 35 this year. You know, you're 40. It's like we're getting up there. We're getting old. Our knees aren't what they were.
Getting crotchety.
But
these goddamn kids.
Yeah, so we don't party. You know, we don't go to the bars and whatnot. But you're right. I mean, San Diego, and maybe it's the setting as a whole. You know, because let's face it. You know, neither one of us are Mormon, but Salt Lake is a Mormon town or a Mormon city.
Oh, actually, I'm adding one to my list. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So they're not. It seems like the majority of people had seen Salt Lake Comic-Con before, saw the people, but let's face it, it is Salt Lake City, it is Utah. There's not a lot of partying going on there like there is in San Diego. San Diego is a coastal party town.
Yes, it is.
And you're right. Whereas in Salt Lake, it was confined to the convention center as a whole. San Diego, like you're talking like a 3-4 block radius. All the bars and restaurants got into it. They had, you know, there was this whole outdoor thing for Assassin's Creed when we went in 2014.
Right.
I think one of the things we missed, wasn't it the Mythbusters we missed?
Well, yeah, the Mythbusters had their after party at one of the clubs.
We missed that.
Which,
and then
we were walking around the floor when they were giving out the tickets for the Mythbusters, and we didn't even hear about it until after the fact.
That's right. It wasn't on the program. It was kind of something after the fact. And then we missed. Did we miss it, or was it last year where they did the whole Star Wars Episode 7 preview at the stadium right there?
That was this year.
So that was 2015. Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave everybody lightsabers.
Yeah, I think you sent me the Facebook post or something on there just to rub it in.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Because I was able to get tickets, but Tammy was not, so I wasn't gonna be a jerk and go myself.
Yeah, because unfortunately I had a family vacation already planned, so I wasn't able to do both.
Well, that and you also sold 2014 as being a once in a lifetime experience, and then that's what your wife remembered.
Yeah, she threw that one back in my face.
What about once in a lifetime? Damn it.
All right, so we're like 10-15 minutes in, so let's get to our list of con survival tips.
Okay, actually, hold on. Just to summarize the difference between Salt Lake City and San Diego, both awesome in their own right. San Diego embraces Comic-Con, and Salt Lake City basically
accepts it. Yeah,
they tolerate it.
And as another form of disclosure, like Sean said, we are not sponsored by Salt Lake Comic-Con. However, they do follow us on Twitter, like all of you guys should. But we are not sponsored by them. In fact, we are not sponsored by anybody except for me and Sean. That, you know, he bought all the audio equipment and I did the website and crap. So any sponsors out there interested in sponsoring us, we are all ears. Show me the money, baby. All right, so we're gonna get into our list of con survival tips, tricks, suggestions, etc. So, Sean, you want me to start since I have so many?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, first, number one is I have listed out: bring multiple pairs of shoes, multiple pairs of socks, and buy good socks and good shoes. This is a tip that I heard about from I don't even know where, podcast or doing all kinds of stuff. But you're going to want to bring multiple pairs of shoes. You're not going to want to wear the same pair of shoes all 4 days, as you'll have blisters in certain spots. Rotate shoes back and forth. Wear one pair the first day, the other pair the second day, and so on. And then good socks and multiple pairs of socks. Bring multiple pairs of shoes. Buy, a good life rule, not just a con rule, is spend money on your feet. Your feet are where you get so much stress in your feet. Buy a good pair of walking shoes / running shoes. If you spend $150, it's worth it. I wouldn't say go out and buy a brand new pair of shoes for Comic-Con, because you're not going to break them in. That's going to be stupid too. So, you have anything to add on that one?
No, that pretty much covers everything. I mean, I think I wore the same shoes, but my feet aren't as sensitive as yours. But I remember the first day at at San Diego, you were just miserable. And I was thinking, I'm going to have to carry you for the next couple of days. But then you had your second pair of shoes, and you were like a different man. So that was awesome. So definitely,
Yeah,
definitely bring 2 pairs of shoes.
and I think for me that was the advantage, is because the first pair of shoes that I bought were a little bit older pair of shoes. I probably shouldn't have bought or with me. And I got blisters in certain spots on my feet the first day, and then when I wore them the second day, and I actually think I wore the second pair of shoes day 2, 3, and 4, and they were a little bit better running shoe, and they didn't affect me in the spots that I had blisters in, so I was able to power through.
All right.
So, all right, next item.
Okay.
Bring.
Whoa.
Oh, you're gonna go?
Yeah, we're taking turns here, man. Come on.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you have 23. I have 5. Give me my moment in the sun. I would say definitely bring a backpack, and I say that because San Diego, they give you a like a plastic tote bag almost, but it has like backpack straps on it, but it's really not. Plus, it's hot in San Diego. You're gonna sweat in the plastic bag, and it's just a nightmare. That tip I took with me to Salt Lake City, and I carried a backpack. The only downside of having a backpack is you are the pack mule. I was carrying Chris's stuff. I was carrying Tammy's stuff. And of course, your wife had to buy books. Of all things at Comic-Con, she had to buy books, and I'm carrying her books around all day.
Hey, those were for the kids. They were signed by the author. They were cool.
Yeah, they were cool, sure, but they're also heavy. Come 3 or 4 hours in.
True. And that's the thing is and I wouldn't even call what we got at San Diego Comic-Con a backpack. It's a tote bag.
Well, it was a tote bag, yeah, but it had like straps on it that kind of like mimicked a backpack.
True, but the problem was that mine broke like before we even got to the con.
Oh, sure it did. And then you're walking around with a plastic bag against your back. You're gonna sweat. It's gonna be miserable and everything else. So definitely bring a backpack. They're not expensive, but if you don't have one, you wish you did.
Okay, but shall we, if you're flying, bring up the issue that you had with the backpack just recently?
If you're flying?
Yes.
Well, I think that was just a fluke. I don't know how a brand new backpack had explosives, sensed on it. I don't know.
Yeah, Sean got labeled as a terrorist by the TSA because his backpack tested positive for some unknown plastic that was possibly an explosive.
I think it's just Irish profiling.
I think it is too. And I have one thing to add is bring a backpack, but pack light. You're going to be feet for literally 10 to 15 hours, depending on how hardcore you are.
Yeah, bring an empty backpack.
Yeah, don't bring. I have one later. Bring batteries and chargers for your phone or camera. We didn't bring. I have a nice Nikon camera. I have a couple of point and shoot cameras, but we didn't actually bring any secondary cameras.
I did.
Everybody has.
I did the first day,
Correct.
and then I found that it was just heavy, and I was using my phone for everything anyway.
Yeah, and it's a lot quicker. Everybody can, especially with the iPhones that you and I both have.
Right.
It's a lot faster to flip out your phone and take a picture. Let's face it, for what we're doing, unless you're a hardcore photographer that is there for a journalist project, all the pictures you take on your phone are going to be fine. I wouldn't even bother with the phone. It possibly could get broken, stolen, lost, etc.
Right.
All right. So anything else to add on backpacks?
No, just basically the backpack is for what you're packing out, not for what you're packing in.
Correct. It's for the stuff you want to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. The next one is I put bring your own water. Now, and this kind of ties in. I'll consolidate two into one. I have bring your own water, and if you can avoid it, don't buy the food there. And it's not that it's bad food, but let's face it, movie theaters and amusement parks, they jack up the price.
It's concession prices.
It's concession prices. You're spending, $5 for a soda, or maybe not quite that much, but it's literally $10 for a cheap concession stand hot dog and a soda. As far as bring your own water, they have water fountains all over. It's not bad water. Buy a 1.5 liter or a liter bottle, drink it, and then fill it up.
Right.
Find the drinking fountains and fill it up. Don't buy multiple bottles of water. It's just you're throwing your money away that you could be spending on cool shit. On top of that, if you can, and they didn't prevent people bringing your lunch. So if you had the option, I would say if you are a local to San Diego or somewhere close, if you're driving in every day, pack a lunch. A couple of sandwiches in one of those, the coolers. Not a full-fledged, party cooler, but one of the little lunch bags that has the insulation and stuff like that. Because, like I said, the food you're spending, for us to eat was $25-$30 easy for the two of us.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, you can go in and out as you please, and especially with Comic-Con, with San Diego Comic-Con and Utah alike, there were restaurants relatively close.
Right.
And like we were saying before, with San Diego, everybody gets involved. You go outside, you walk a block away, and there's 6 different restaurants right there.
Right, and not only that, you've got street vendors and everything else.
Absolutely.
Okay, next one is do your homework when it comes to where you're staying. The further away you stay, the cheaper it's going to be. But then you also got to consider the transportation to the con. And San Diego's got this trolley system. Basically, it's like an above-ground subway. And there's even an app for it where you can go on and actually pay for the whole 4 days, which we did. And you get on, and it's got the QR code, and then the conductor comes by and scans your code, and you're good to go. So I think we had to walk maybe half a mile to the trolley station, something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like a half a mile to a mile max.
Yeah, a mile max, right? And we had we stopped by Jack in the Box in the morning and had breakfast on the way there. So basically, we leave the hotel, walk to Jack in the Box, eat breakfast, which is going to be cheaper than it's going to be at the con, and then we walk to the trolley station, which comes every 20 minutes or so. So
yeah, absolutely. We were right on. Like I said, we were like, I want to say half a mile's right. It might have been a mile.
Yeah. So basically, weigh what you're willing to pay for the hotel, which for me, it doesn't matter where I'm going, or who I'm with, whatever else. For me, the hotel, that's where I sleep. I'm not looking for, luxury accommodations. I don't care about the jacuzzi tub. I don't care about, whatever else. That's just where I sleep when I'm not doing what I'm doing when I'm there. So it doesn't really matter to me, how nice a hotel is. I mean, just as long as I'm not going to get stabbed in my sleep, I'm happy. So, consider where you're staying and how much transportation is going to be. Because I think we paid I think it was even $20 for the 4 days.
No, it wasn't even that. It was like I want to say it was $10 each
Yeah, and
for all 4 days. And like you said earlier, San Diego embraces Comic.
oh, absolutely.
It was all about the con, and the benefit is as well is that, and this also applies to Salt Lake. We were close enough that we walked Salt Lake, but that's only because the hotel prices aren't inflated as much as San Diego is. But
which I'm sure will change.
And I'm sure as Salt Lake grows and it gets a couple years in it, and if it continues on and it gets like San Diego, then yeah, absolutely will inflate the prices. But yeah, and I have the same thing on my list: is find a hotel on the train or bus line, be prepared for a hike. And we looked at hotels. We actually got the hotel, and I don't even remember what it was. It was some ghetto place. I wouldn't recommend staying there, but we stayed there.
I'd stay there again.
We basically got that hotel based on its location and price relative to the bus line or the tram line, as opposed to its location towards Comic-Con, because we were literally like John said, in a different city, and I want to say we were 5-6 miles away from Comic-Con or from the convention center itself, and that would have been a hike. So plan it out, find the tram lines. You can look, they have, and let's face it, San Diego is it's still a town, and they still, you are dealing with commuter traffic, especially on Thursdays and Fridays. So you have people that are going to work. But it's also like, it embraces the con. We saw people in full cosplay on the tram with us.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's part of the town, and there were people coming from farther away than we were. We would get on the tram, and there were already people on that were in full cosplay.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, find out where the tram lines are. Comic-Con or San Diego Comic-Con does have buses that run to various hotels. But what we were willing to pay for our hotel was actually outside that area. But if you can get in early enough, you're going to go or try to go. You can get a hotel that's on their different bus lines as well. And that information pretty much is stagnant. It stays the same from year to year with minor changes. So you can look ahead and say, okay, this is the blue line for the bus to Comic-Con. It stops at these 7 hotels. These are the 7 hotels that I want to look at staying.
Yeah, but the one thing when I consider about the buses is that each bus was like the last chopper out of Saigon.
Oh, hell yeah, it was.
There
was floods of people.
I mean, everyone was like fighting each other to get onto the bus.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you, the trolley rolls up and it's too jam-packed, you wait, another trolley shows up. Yeah, basically, the bottom line is weigh your options. What are you willing to pay versus how far are you willing to go out of your way?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're a rich billionaire and you can afford, $500,000-$600,000 a night for a hotel, you can get within walking distance, no problem. You get a penthouse suite and view. But if you're middle class workers like Sean and I, and you just want to go to the con because it's something cool, then you're gonna have to do some research. You're gonna have to plan around, and the hotel, the Comic-Con tickets aren't what I would call cheap. They're if you get all 4 days, it's like $150 to $200.
Mm-hmm.
But you're spending
well worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
Got to put out there. San Diego was awesome. It was an experience, and I would do it again.
I would definitely do it again. But so that's only part of what you're paying, and then the major chunk, depending on where you're coming from, because we live in northern Nevada, Reno area, and we were able to drive down. It's like an 8-9 hour drive for us. I have family that lives in Southern California, but not quite. It's still an hour from San Diego. So we drove down there. But if you're, without figuring in, airlines, if you're in New York or, back east or in the Midwest or whatever, just the hotel itself for all 4 or 5 or 6 days, you're easily going to spend $150 to $300 a night on hotel without breaking a sweat. So figure it out early. and look at options like the bus lines and the trams and stuff like that.
Right.
Anything else on that?
No, I think we killed that one.
I think we did too. All right, the next one for me is easy. Bring Tylenol, ibuprofen. Even if you don't get sore, I'm a big guy. I'm 5'9", 250 pounds. I was popping anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of Tylenol and ibuprofen every day.
Jesus.
I would easily take 1,000 milligrams before we even left the hotel. I was getting a jump on that because I'm a fat kid and I'm not as nimble as I once was. And then with you throw it in a backpack or a fanny pack if you want to roll like that. If you're secured in your masculinity and you don't with the fanny pack, throw it in there. Way through, take some more, and then taking some when you get home. Period.
Well, we should also say we're not sponsored by Tylenol either.
Tylenol is a generic name for acetaminophen.
But yeah,
it's just like Kleenex.
Well, and not only that, I mean, the cons apparently are not known for their ventilation and air conditioning. So I mean, you're going to be in a room, a giant room with 3, 4, 5,000 people. It's going to get hot. It's going to get loud. You're going to get a headache.
And that's just in the small conference rooms. That's not even on the floor.
Yeah, so I mean, you're gonna get a headache. It's gonna happen. Just blood pressure rises, and you're gonna get a headache. So absolutely bring Tylenol, ibuprofen, whatever your pain reliever of choice is. But no, that's actually a great tip, and I did not have that on my list at all.
All right, let's move on. What do you got next?
Okay, next I have for if you're gonna be buying prints or art, which is just absolutely everywhere. I think in Salt Lake City, Tammy and I think we bought 22 different prints.
And I bought 10.
Yeah, so we
something like that.
So between us, we bought almost 40 different prints, and they were selling the 11 by 17. If anybody has a baseball card collection, they have the top loaders, the semi-rigid plastic protectors for the cards. They also have those in 8 by 10 or 11 by 17 sizes, which they sell for in between $5 and $10 a piece. I mean, if a little bit of planning ahead, and when you're putting it in your backpack with your Tylenol and your phone charger and your water bottle, just throw in a 20 by 20 or a 15 by 20 whatever. 2 pieces of cardboard, taped together to where you actually slide your prints in between, and you'll save yourself money there. Or I'm sure, I haven't looked for myself, but if you look around, I'm sure you can probably order those cheaper on eBay or any other, art supply store or whatever, where you may be able, to buy those top loaders. Actually, it saves a little bit of money. But either way, if you got to buy it at the con or you buy it prior to, it's going to save your art prints.
Yeah, and like you said, they're inflated where they're selling them. Like, what do those tubes cost for the posters? Like $5?
The what?
The tube, the cardboard tube with the caps for the posters.
Oh, yeah, the poster tubes. But
yeah, they were selling those for like $5 a piece when you buy those beforehand for $1 or $2.
Oh yeah, go to any like mailbox, etc., or box supply store and buy poster tubes. I didn't think about poster tubes. I think I bought 5 posters just to get the tube because it ended up being cheaper in the long run. But yeah, buy a poster tube, buy the protectors, and it will definitely save you money in the long run.
Absolutely, because they are inflated. You can buy the protectors for probably, you can get 10 or 20 for $5, and they're charging $5 a piece.
Yeah, I said I never even looked, but I didn't go there to buy art. Tammy was the one who was looking at the different prints and all that stuff. Then I started finding ones that I liked, and next thing we know, we're 22 prints in.
So and there's a lot of cool stuff.
And it really is. And that's the thing is, you never know what you're going to find there.
Yeah. And that kind of goes with my next one, which is shop around. Because a lot of the people are selling different things. But then on the same token, a lot of people are selling the same things.
Right.
And my next two actually kind of go together. So shop around and negotiate. Most of these guys are not stores.
Right.
They are hobbyists like you and I, and our listeners, and they're geeks and they're nerds, and you can negotiate a little bit. Some of the stores, some of the bigger vendors, their prices are set. That's it, period. Like the big, like you're talking about the poster guy where you bought all of them for $5 and you got the free tube.
Right.
Those prices are set. You're not going to negotiate with those guys. But a lot of the smaller dealers, especially the independent artists and the independent guys that just have a cool toy collection and they want to get rid of some stuff, you can negotiate. Don't take the final price. Come in 10% lower or 20% what you want to spend.
Especially on the vintage toys.
Exactly.
Because they aim for the moon, but they'll take the horizon.
Absolutely. In fact, there was the 20th edition Voltron I was looking for. I didn't end up buying.
You're still looking for that.
I still look at it, but the problem is I'm not gonna. They wanted like $150 to $200. I wasn't quite ready to spend that kind of money on it. I will probably eventually, but it is what it is.
You know what? I actually saw it on eBay today. Should have been working.
Really?
I should have been working, but I was on eBay and it was at $229.
See, because the one vendor, I got it. Like I walked away and he's like, "Well, I'll give it to you for $125." I should have bought it. Almost double my money at this point. But like I said, the shop around and negotiate. The one specifically I was looking for, I think I found it 3 different vendors. At least was it Salt Lake? Yeah, in Salt Lake there was 3 different vendors that had it. Price range from $150 listed to like $175, $200. So we're talking a price difference of $50, especially if you're looking for something that's well, not well because there were only 3 of them. But if it's something that's not super unique, or that last piece of your collection, you can negotiate, you can shop around, see what else is going on.
Well, and there was that one guy that was trying to sell me that giant Boba Fett figure. It was like I don't know what it was. It was some Japanese Boba Fett figure. He was saying it was the only one. Yeah. He was saying it was the only one that I was to see at the con, but then we walked around and saw like 5 more within 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's face it, some of these guys there are geeks, but they're also playing on that. Right. Oh, this is a one of a kind. And then you walk, 100 feet down the aisle, and then the guy has the same thing. Oh, this is the only one. No, you're a freaking liar. So, all right, what's your next one?
Let's see. Well, aside from San Diego and Salt Lake City, it said bring your own booze.
Absolutely.
Being the I guess conservative town that it is, Salt Lake City has their state-run liquor stores where you can only get liquor. I think you buy beer and wine in the stores, but it's like lower alcohol content, and the rum or whiskey or vodka, whatever, you get actually to buy in the state stores, and it's just a big hassle. So good.
And it's expensive as hell. It is taxed. The one thing that did surprise me was that the Salt Lake Convention Center does actually serve alcohol inside.
Yeah, that was a little bit ironic.
That was a very, very ironic to me, but I guess they, for whatever reason, you weren't getting shots of Jaeger or whatever, but you could buy beer, and they had a huge selection. I'm a big fan of Bud Light Platinum. That's how I get down. And they had that, but I want to say they had like Blue Moon and some of your more prominent brands as well. So yeah, but definitely, San Diego, like I said before, it is a party town. It's not a big deal. It's California. The only thing we're not used to is we're Nevada residents, so we party all night long. You guys in California get last call between like midnight and 2 a.m. Yeah, and that's sauce.
That was weird hearing last call. And I actually turned to the table next to us like, what the hell does that mean? What's last call?
Yeah, that's weak sauce.
Exactly.
In Nevada, we know how to party. Party till 6 a.m. Bring it on. And that was another weird thing. In Utah, we did go to a bar. Sean has family there, and my brother-in-law lives there. And we went to a bar, and they card you regardless. It's really, they're very strict, and from my understanding, they like track who goes to the bars, but that's a whole different, thing. But yeah, be prepared if you are a drinker, especially coming from out of state. If you have the ability to drive, I'm not going to give legal advice because I don't know what the legalities are from buying alcohol in a different place and bringing it into Utah. But if you can, and it's legal, bring your own booze if you like something specific. Otherwise, you may not even be able to find it.
Okay, and that about taps my list out. So I know you have a lot more.
All right, I got, it's probably 10, 15 more.
Well, tell you what, how about pick out the top 5 of those 15?
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
Because right now we're at 42 minutes right now.
All right. Well, I already said plan early. That kind of went with, figure out, your hotel and whatnot. I'll just run through them real quick. Pray to the random number gods if you're going to San Diego Comic-Con.
Covered that.
Hope that you get in. We covered that. Get as many days as you can. The tickets aren't too expensive, especially like we were talking about for San Diego. If you are fortunate enough to get into to buy your tickets, even if you're only looking at a specific day, you won't know what's where. Buy as many days as you can. If it's 2 days, buy 2. If it's 3 days, buy 3. If it's 4 days, buy 4, and then figure it out later. Like I said, you may not want to go Sunday, but it's not that much more money to get that extra day.
Exactly.
And San Diego Comic-Con is freaking huge. There's a shit ton of people. That's just what it is. Deal with it. Along the same lines is be patient and prioritize lines.
Right.
We spent some good portion of time in lines at San Diego, especially for the main hall. What is it? H?
Hall H, yeah.
Hall H. We got to see Kevin Smith. That's where they showed the in 2015 they showed, I think, the trailer for Star Wars Episode 7.
And that's where the panel was too.
That's where the panel was.
Well, I said we're the first day for Hall H. We're actually leaving, and there were people that were camping in Hall H just for the next day.
Yeah, and that's one thing is San Diego hasn't really figured out how to handle the sheer number of people and what they want to see. You basically had to wait in line. You had to be in line, and in fact, for the Kevin Smith thing, we ended up sitting through like an hour and a half of panels we didn't even care about.
Oh, at least, yeah. It was like all the upcoming TV trailers or whatever.
Yeah, and then we saw the preview for Maze Runner.
Yeah, which I actually ended up going and seeing in the theater, by the way, because of what I saw there. So
see, I've never seen it, but apparently it's a good movie. It looked cool.
Yeah, it was really good. And to say, Tammy's an English teacher. In fact, she's actually having her kids or her students read The Maze Runner instead of Lord of the Flies now.
Oh, but Lord of the Flies is kick-ass.
Yeah, but now she has replaced Lord of the Flies with Maze Runner.
It looks like it has, almost the same themes. So, but yeah, you're going to, in Comic-Con, you got to, San Diego specifically, you have to prioritize, and that goes, actually, I can kill 3 of them with this. Plan your events, talks, programs, panels, because you're basically not going to be able to see it all. Prioritize your panels or prioritize the lines because you are going to have to spend time in lines. Plan out once you get, especially with San Diego, and even to a lower extent with the Salt Lake Comic-Con, is you're not going to be able to see everything because there is going to be conflicts, especially with Comic-Con in San Diego. There is so many different things going on at once. There's so many different little halls, big halls, the Hall H. You're going to have to miss something to stand in line for something else. You're going to have to miss something because panel A is going on and panel B you want to see as well. It's going on in the same time.
But you know what, though? Standing in line, I mean, when the average person thinks of, standing in line, you're thinking you're standing there and, waiting for everything to happen. At Comic-Con, you're standing in line. It's kind of like almost like a parade. You're standing there, but stuff is still going by you. You're still seeing stuff. You're seeing people in costumes. You're seeing all kinds of, just stuff that you just dig the crap out of because,
celebrities.
Yeah, celebrities. You see people in costume. I mean, you just see, mock fights break out, because you'll see someone dressed like Captain Kirk walk by where, Han Solo will, flick him shit. It's just standing in line at Comic-Con is not like standing in line. I said it's like being at a parade.
Yeah, Jedi versus Sith,
Right.
Stormtroopers versus Jedi.
Right. I mean,
Kirk
yeah.
versus Picard. I mean, you got
Yeah, you're in line, but there's still a show.
absolutely. And then, you know, an example from Salt Lake is we're just randomly walking through the floor where all the vendors are, and what's his name? Shit, C-3PO.
Yes. Anthony Daniels.
And Anthony Daniels. I'm 2 or 3 rum and cokes in right now. So, yeah. So Anthony Daniels walks by, and well, he was actually on one of the not panels, but he was actually one of the celebrities that you could pay for an autograph and a picture. Well, Sean and I, being the ninjas that we are, he's like, "Hey, get your phone out." So I throw my phone out, get it on photograph, and he walks up and throws his arm around Anthony Daniels like he knows the guy, and snaps it. And I snap a picture real quick, and then we find out after the fact that Anthony Daniels is a germaphobe, and he doesn't like people to touch him. So it's like, how ninja is that? Like C-3PO, the guy that played C-3PO, like just randomly walked by you, and Sean got a picture with him real quick, fast, and then it hurt.
You know, but as awesome as that was, I really can't take credit for actually seeing him because I didn't even see the guy. You're the one that saw him. You pointed him out. I'm like, holy shit. Then I ran in and did the ninja shit. But
hey, it was a team effort.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't see him, so you know, you set it up. I knocked it down.
Yeah, and it's, the funny thing is this actually goes against what my next list item is that ask before taking pictures.
No, I asked him. I said, "Hey,
True.
can I get a picture?" He said, "Yeah, sure."
And then you threw his arm around him like your gangster buddies.
Yeah, which is it's on Twitter, isn't it? Or it's on our website, isn't it?
I believe so. If not, we'll get it up there. But yeah, and the ask before taking pictures is really, you know, celebrities are used to it. Most of the cosplayers are used to it. But the thing with this is that you have to, especially the cosplayers, because these people, this is an art for them. They enjoy doing it. They're there for the fans. But if you just snap pictures randomly as they're walking by, you're not going to get the full experience.
Right.
Whereas a lot of these people have poses, and they'll do really cool stuff for you. If you just say, "Hey, do you mind if I take a picture?"
Oh, sure.
And you have to, you know, say, "Hey, do you mind if I take a picture?" They'll do their cool pose. They may have 2 or 3 poses, and just be prepared that there's going to be like, you know, 20, 30, 50 people trying to take a picture of the same person or thing
right
at a time. They're used to it. That's why they do it. They want that attention. But ask, be nice about it.
Well, and that's just, you know, general politeness too.
Yeah, but you know, you get large groups of people, and politeness sometimes goes out the window.
Yeah, but you know, look at the other way. You know, you have 5 people are being assholes about it, and then you ask, they're gonna be, you know, much cooler to you because out of everyone, you're the one that asked.
Absolutely. And the next 2 actually go along kind of the same lines. Don't be a douche or rude. We're all there because we enjoy certain things. You know, we've already discussed that, you know, the Star Trek versus Star Wars. We're not anti that. If you're anti something, that's fine, but don't try to wax intellectual in the middle of a con because somebody's dressed up as Star Trek and you're hardcore Star Wars and you hate Star Trek. That's
right.
Not, you know, this isn't the internet. We're all geeks. We're all nerds. We all embrace it. There's some people that are, you know, have a higher levelness. There's some people that are a higher nerd level or a higher geek level, whatever you want to call it, than others. You know, Sean and I didn't dress up.
No.
We went with, you know, we had our nerd t-shirts on, but don't be a dick. That's a good life rule, not just a con rule.
Yeah, I mean, it's a celebration, not a contest.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're trying to prove to everyone else, you know, what a geek or nerd you are, all you're doing is trying to convince yourself.
Yeah. And then along those lines, I got, again, don't get whiplash from the booth babes or the cosplay. There's some hot women there.
That will happen.
That will happen. You're hottie overload. Like, you're just like, and don't, like, Sean and I are both guys. We appreciate the female bodies, but don't make it over obvious. Don't be that guy. Don't be the creep.
Right.
You know, they're dressed up in a certain way. They know it, but don't make it.
Oh, God. Of course they know it.
Exactly. But that's good on them. God bless them. Baby, why you gotta be so mean?
Exactly.
And then if you're tired, rest. If you miss a panel, you miss a panel. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I think we probably passed on, I don't know, maybe a dozen panels. Just like, it's like, oh, what about this one? Like, what? Screw it, I don't care.
Yeah.
My feet hurt.
we-
I want to sit down.
We planned out. I want to say we easily skipped 20%, maybe even 25% of what schedule we had planned out.
Yeah, easily.
Easily. And like we said, in 2014, San Diego Comic-Con was actually the first con Sean and I together and individually had even ever been to. So once the schedule came out, we planned it all out. We're going to go see this and this and this and this. And then finally we're just like, yeah, we're not, do you even really want to go to that? And you're like, no, I don't give a shit.
Well,
I want to sit down and eat a hot dog.
Yeah. Or half of them were hungover. We're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just sleep in. Yes. Some of them were just, too damn early in the morning.
Yeah, we did do that because we're like, okay, we got to get up at like 5 o'clock, or not even maybe that early, but we got to get up at 6 o'clock. We got to go get Jack in the Box. We got to get on the tram. It's a half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever down there. And then we have to walk to be there by 8. And we're like, yeah, no, screw that.
Yeah.
We're sleeping in until like 10:30.
Yeah.
And we'll roll in when we roll in.
The room's still spinning. I'm not getting up.
Yeah. And, if you're hungry, go eat. It's, unless there's something really, really. And we even said as we kind of started getting along, we'd get, back to the hotel the night prior. And then we'd look at the next day's schedule and be like, okay, what do you really want to see? Like, what's,
right.
Instead of this, this is cool. We kind of want to see this. There were certain things we really wanted to see. There was a couple of Star Wars panels we really wanted to see. We really wanted to see Kevin Smith's talk.
Right.
And we prioritized. Like I said, we stood in line for probably an hour, and then we sat through an hour and a half of stuff we didn't even want to see because we wanted to see Kevin Smith.
Exactly.
And those are the sacrifices you're going to have to make.
Now, and that's actually, that brought up another tip that I just thought of just now, is sitting through something that you don't want to see, that what you do want to see is next at the same hall or the same room, same location.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think we did that for Mythbusters. No, it was Adam and Jamie.
The Adam and Jamie. That is what we did see Adam and Jamie there.
Yeah, we sat through was it like 3 hour long network TV premieres. It was like Constantine and something else.
Constantine was one,
and Person of Interest.
Yeah, I think you're right. One of them was Person of Interest,
and then their panel, and then one more shorter to that. So I think we spent probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours sitting through that just to see the Adam and Jamie panel, because they're not going to kick you out of the room to let the line in. So if you end up sitting in the back of the panels you don't want to see, the room's going to clear out and you'll be able to move up. And I think we were like, what, 4th row for Adam and Jamie?
No, we were. I want to say we were 3rd row.
Oh, okay, we're going to fight over 1 row, really?
No, we're not. But yeah, that's what I was going to say too, is that we started out way in the back, and as the first panel would clear out, or whatever panel we were in currently, everybody would clear out that wasn't interested, and we would like jump forward 30 rows, and we got, like I said, 3rd, 4th, we were right there. In fact, we were 1 row or 2 rows behind Grant Imahara. Was it Grant or was it Norman Chan? Do you remember who it was? It's the Asian guy.
I don't know. I was fascinated by. I was starstruck by Adam and Jamie, so I have no idea.
Yeah, and both of us love Mythbusters, and so it was either Grant Imahara from the actual Mythbusters show, or it's Norman Chan who does Tested and Still Untitled with Adam Savage currently. We love both of them. We love Adam and Jamie. Final season's on right now, and I shed a tear every time I think about it. But yeah, so we were able to slingshot ourselves way up front. But those are the types of sacrifices you're gonna have to make. You're gonna have to sit through 1 or 2 or 3 panels of something you don't really care about to see what you want to see.
Yeah, so see where you want to be, and work your way back.
Yeah, and then so the last thing I have is bring a charger for your phone or camera. or extra batteries.
That's a good one.
You know, bring the charging cable. I know, you know, both San Diego Convention Center and the Salt Lake Convention Center had like those mobile charging places that you paid a couple of bucks and it like fast charged your phone. There were outlets in various places, but they were a commodity at both. You know, there's, you know, 4 or 5 or 6 people standing around waiting. You know, if you have a camera like a point and shoot or a Nikon, bring the rechargeable battery, charge it up in your hotel, or bring extra AA's or whatever it takes. Buy a couple of those little lithium charger packs.
Yeah,
I get them.
Yeah, I actually bought 2 of those when we're in Montana for Christmas.
Yeah, and that's, you know, you can get them on Groupon for, you know, $5 or $10 for a 2 or 3 pack.
Or at Walmart, I got them for $3.50 a piece.
There you go. You know, they might not be the best quality, but if this is the only time you use them, it's worth it.
Right.
Because especially if you're taking a lot of photographs, you're looking up prices on things on eBay and various sites.
You're tweeting pictures of cosplay babes.
You're tweeting pictures of cosplay babes. You know, it happens. So that's all I have for Con Survival. You have anything else to add?
No, that about covers it.
All right. If you guys have any other tips, tweet us. I did put a tweet. You can also put it on our website, geekstalkback.com. You can also do at geekstalkback, where the G and the T and the B are all capitalized. Give us your tips that we didn't cover.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's probably something, because we are not experts by any means.
No, like I said, we're not veterans, but we're not rookies either. And again, there's a whole nother aspect that we haven't got into. I don't know if I ever will, is the whole cosplay thing. Because if you're traveling with weapons and a costume and stuff like that, I'm sure there's tips that those guys have that are on a whole different level.
Yeah, and then actually, you know, a question I can pose to people who are the expert / veteran / whatever for cons is, what is the etiquette for long boxes? If you're standing, if you're standing at you know, the guys selling the comics, and they have the long box, you know, like the 3 foot, 4 foot boxes full of comics. What is the etiquette? I mean, first come, first serve. If I've got through half the box, do I let the first half to the second guy, or I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. If you're sitting there, if you're flipping through the comics, seeing if there's anything you want,
exactly. What is the etiquette there? I don't know.
I don't know either. It's I would, in my opinion, I would think you're there first, so you get to go through until you're done.
Yeah, but then again, I'm only one of like 2,000 people there.
That is true.
You know, so I don't know. So if anyone has any, you know, not just con survival tips, but, you know, con etiquette, you know, tweet us, you know, whatever. Now, I want to know.
All right, I think that's it for Con Survival.
Okay, we'll finish up the show today with the Karate Kid, Daniel is the Real Bully by J. Matthew Turner. And I just want to say that this video is definitely one of the most convincing alternative storyline theories I've heard about any movie ever. It is absolutely hilarious. I roll every time I see it. And it's just one of the more entertaining videos I've ever seen on YouTube. Yeah,
it's again, it's by J. Matthew Turner. I'm looking at it. It's got 5.6 million hits. You do a search for Karate Kid, Daniel is the Real Bully. There's news articles about it from major networks. I love the video. I don't agree with it 100%. I love the Karate Kid movies 1, 2, and 3. But it does point out that in some of the situations, Daniel is actually the antagonist.
Right.
So,
and I don't think that it was actually meant to be taken seriously. I think it was meant to be a parody. It was meant to be in jest.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell looking at some of his other videos. Some of his other videos are true too. So, but it is absolutely funny. He does a great job. We'll link to the YouTube page when we post this up. We have talked to him via Twitter or email, and he has given us permission to use it. Seems like a really great guy. So look it up, The Karate Kid, Daniel is the Real Bully, original video by J. Matthew Turner. It's on YouTube. And now we'll play the video for you. It's like 4.5 minutes long.
The Karate Kid is the story of Daniel, a violent sociopath who moves to a California town and begins tormenting a local boy and his friends. Johnny is a high school senior with a commitment to atone for past mistakes and move his life forward in a positive direction.
No, ex-degenerate, man. 8 a.m. tomorrow. I'm a senior. I've got 1 year to make it all work. And that's what I'm gonna do. Make it work.
They are destined to meet when Daniel's neighbor invites him to a beach party where he becomes instantly obsessed with Johnny's newly ex-girlfriend, Allie.
With an eye.
After a courtship ritual consisting solely of creepy, unbroken eye contact, he approaches her, only to be summarily rebuffed. Johnny arrives to patch things up with Allie, but the discussion becomes heated.
Well, I want to talk to you, all right?
Now, I want to be clear about this. What Johnny is doing is not okay, and he should respect her wish to be left alone. Johnny is, in the end, a flawed hero. But one thing he is definitely not doing is getting violent. Daniel, however, seeing an opportunity to insert himself into Allie's life, chooses to escalate the situation, demanding the return of Allie's radio. Frustrated and heartbroken, Johnny complies with Daniel's request, and in the heat of the moment, pushes him down. Daniel now has the radio, and Allie is still in no danger. Nevertheless, he attacks Johnny, who merely steps aside, allowing Daniel to knock himself to the ground twice. But when Daniel refuses to let it go, Johnny must use force to end this violent outburst, for the safety of everyone present. So what is Daniel's response to Johnny's non-aggression? Pow! A sucker punch right to the mouth. Johnny defends himself, as is his legal right, and then de-escalates the situation by leaving the scene entirely. The next day in school, Daniel trips while playing sport ball. Rather than accepting that occasional bumps and bruises will happen during playtime, Daniel instead externalizes the blame onto Johnny's friend Bobby and proceeds to ground and pound him, MMA style. A few days later, Daniel attempts to enroll at a karate school, obviously intending to up his game so he can get revenge on Johnny. Put it this way, how would you feel if someone picked a fight with you, lost, and then went out the next day and bought a gun? Well, that's exactly how Johnny feels when Daniel shows up at Cobra Kai, so he decides to send a message. Your violence will not be tolerated, because Johnny knows what can happen when you teach karate to a person with a bad attitude. Months go by, and no one bothers anyone. Clearly, this conflict is over. Until Daniel, unprovoked and for absolutely no reason, drenches Johnny with water in the middle of a school function, ruining his night. To add irony to injury, Johnny was at that very moment sparking up a J, which is just about the least violent thing you can do.
A weasel snagged the bee. Alright.
But I digress. Daniel has crossed the line this time, and he knows it. After causing a multi-car collision, he flees into the night. There is no telling what further damage this unbalanced and violent individual will do, and once again, it falls on Johnny to contain Daniel's fury. After local busybody, karate master, and child batterer Mr. Miyagi intervenes, Daniel convinces him that this is somehow all Johnny's fault. So they go to Johnny's sacred place, the Cobra Kai studio, and challenge him to yet another fight. Johnny accepts the challenge and even agrees to refrain from defending himself against any more of Daniel's unprovoked aggression until the match.
No one touches the prima donna until the tournament.
Daniel, of course, sees this as a license to continue to harass Johnny in public with impunity.
Alright, watch this. Hey guys, how you doing? It's good to see you. Hey, sorry about the eye there, Johnny. Shoulder okay, Tommy? You guys be careful not to go stepping in front of any more buses now, alright?
The day of the tournament arrives. Johnny is there, defending his title. Daniel, meanwhile, is a danger to himself and others as he doesn't even know the basic rules of engagement.
Alright, what are the rules here?
Oh no.
To no one's surprise, Johnny advances to the final round, and karma catches up with Daniel when his leg is injured by the boy he wantonly attacked on the soccer field. However, just as Johnny is about to be awarded his trophy, Daniel is granted unnatural strength by the demon sorcerer Miyagi, enabling him to defeat Johnny and win the tournament in an upset. Ever mindful of good sportsmanship, Johnny lets go of his sadness at losing, subjugates his ego, and personally presents Daniel with his tainted blood trophy. May you choke on it in your wet dreams, you rotten little prick. Thanks for watching. Please click like and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Let me know in the comments what you think about my theory and what movie I should talk about next. And check out my previous video, Mortal Kombat and Enter the Dragon are the same movie.
This is a karate dojo, not a knitting class.
Okay, I just gotta say that video is absolutely hilarious. Every time I watch it, it's absolutely hilarious.
That's so good.
And I love the local busybody, karate master, and child batterer. And the whole thing's pretty much summed up in the line of he's a danger to himself and others.
All right. So, well, I took notes while the video was playing. I know you guys can only hear the audio, but go watch the video. So I got some things that I agree with, some things I don't agree with. First off is the comment about Daniel's creepy eyes, because he does have this like weird stalker creepy eyes in a couple of scenes in the movie, so I'll give him that one. The next one is when he's talking about Johnny on the beach when he goes up to his ex-girlfriend. Well, I want to talk to you. That whole male dominance, that's like got 80s domestic violence written all over it.
But he did say that what he was doing wasn't right true. Because he was a flawed hero.
True. And he does admit that, you know, in the heat of the moment that Johnny pushed the radio into Daniel and Daniel fell down. Well, first off, if Daniel wasn't, you know, so much of a bitch, he wouldn't have fell down in the first place. But then Daniel does get up 3 different times, actually 4 different times after he's pushed down with the radio. Then the first sweep, then the second sweep. You know, Daniel kept coming.
But he didn't actually strike Danny. Danny ran at him and he kind of just tripped him. You know, basically, you know, used his defensive tactics to get him out of the way. He didn't really attack Danny.
Correct. Until after Danny hit him first.
Even though Danny was attacking him.
Yeah. And he just, you know, he parried. He didn't attack. He parried twice.
Right.
And Daniel kept coming, and then hits him with the cheap shot.
Right.
And then he fought back. So that is that's a valid point. Daniel kept coming.
Yeah. Danny had it going.
And he had it coming. So he does go after Bobby. I can't even fault that.
Who's Bobby?
Or I'm sorry, Johnny. Yeah, I said Bobby's one of the other guys that I wrote note on. He does go after Bobby on the next scene on the soccer field.
When he grounds and pounds him MMA style?
Yeah, grounds and pounds him MMA style. You know, was it a little bit of a cheap shot on Bobby? Yeah, but that's part of soccer. You're going to fall. You're going to get tripped.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Yeah,
it's gonna happen, and I don't think he
took it personally.
React. Yeah, exactly. Was it intentional? We don't know.
Well, yeah, it was. But come on, it's soccer, and he had his chance. He took it, but still, it's soccer. It had nothing to do with the whole alley thing.
No. So, and then I also put the 80s versus the 2000s. He's absolutely right, because if this movie was set in modern times, Daniel would have gone home, found his mom's gun, come back and blasted the school.
Right.
This is, you know, so this is a good old fashioned 80s, you know, I'm going to beat your ass movie.
Well, yeah, because in all reality, the whole beef was between Johnny and Danny. Bobby had nothing to do with it.
No, it was all the girlfriend.
Yeah, so I mean, Bobby should have gotten involved, but Danny should have taken out his rage against, you know, Johnny on Bobby.
Yeah. So, and then it goes into the next scene where Daniel drenches him in the bathroom. That was completely unprovoked.
You know what? I watched that movie, I don't know how many hundreds of times, and ask anybody, you know, ask my sister, the funniest movie. Is that Ice?
It was Ice.
Yeah, we're both a little bit
tipsy.
A little bit tipsy, right? And ask my sister, the funniest movie ever made was Karate Kid. I love the Karate Kid. I think it is the funniest movie ever made. I think probably because it's not supposed to be funny, but God, I find it hilarious. And I've watched it every time it comes on. In fact, it's so special to me that I will not buy it. I will watch it when it comes on TV, but I will not actually buy the movie because I want it to remain special. So I've probably seen it, I don't know, probably 40, 50 times. And it never even crossed my mind that Danny was starting shit with the whole hose in the bathroom thing.
Yeah, that was all him.
It never crossed my mind, and it was such a aha moment when I saw that. I mean, you know, J. Matthew Turner's obviously more observant than I am because, as I said, I've seen it so many times it didn't even cross my mind. But yeah, it was. I mean, he totally he brought that on himself.
Yeah,
he had the ass kicking coming to him by that fence.
So yeah, because he's right. Johnny's in there with his buddies rolling a joint. I mean, how laid back is that?
Exactly.
And he throw the hose over the stall.
And again, it was summer because they were on the beach.
Yep.
And now this is a Halloween party, so they're indicating that months had gone by.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything had happened in between then, they would have had it in the story, obviously. So from the summer until Halloween, nothing happened. And then Danny has to be a dick and actually start shit.
Well, and that's confirmed too, because when Johnny says I'm an ex-degenerate, tomorrow at 8 a.m. I'm a senior, which indicates that the party on the beach was
the end of
last day summer.
Okay, so you're talking about the end of August, beginning of September. So 2 months have gone by.
Exactly.
But nothing's happened.
Mm-hmm. So he antagonized it.
Absolutely.
However, the issue that I have is that there's four guys, including Johnny.
Okay.
Versus one. That's a little bit excessive. And they chased him from the school and got him. And they teamed up on it. That's where I have an issue with that.
So the issue is not that there's retaliation, but was the level of retaliation.
Correct. If Johnny chased him down by himself and they went toe to toe, I'd be okay with that. Daniel had it coming all day long.
Okay,
but basically,
hold on. Let me ask you this though. I'm in the bathroom in my kick-ass skeleton costume, and all of a sudden, some asshole dressed as a shower comes running out of the bathroom. I start chasing him. Are you gonna stand there?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna go chase him down.
Exactly. So I'm running. You're running. Our friends are gonna see us running. They're gonna run too. It's gonna be in the heat of the moment sort of thing.
Yes, you're right. But 3, 4, 5 against 1, I still have an issue with that. If we caught up to him and you wanted to fight him and you guys fought, okay.
Okay, I'm being devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I see it. I see your point.
So, and then the batterer thing. I mean, honestly, Mr. Miyagi saw one kid being beat up by 3 or 4 or 5 guys. I can't say that I wouldn't step in either.
So the local busybody, karate master, and child batterer, Mr. Miyagi.
Child batterer. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my question is why was he there?
Because he's the local busybody.
I understand that, but local busybody, it kind of implies that he's in everyone's business, but he seems all about Daniel. I mean, he has a drink with him. He invites him over to his house. He buys him a car. I mean, I think there's probably more going on between Danny and Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, but we're talking 1980s, not 2010s. If that movie came out now, Mr. Miyagi's a pedophile.
That's what we're gonna see is Chris Hansen come out of the woodworks.
Yes.
So, Mr. Miyagi, we have your chat records here. Do you go by Miyagi 69? Is that you?
Oh, Jesus.
Are you Bonsai 1969? Is that you?
You went all kinds of dark on that. So I don't necessarily think I'd call Mr. Miyagi a child batterer, because on the flip side of the original, we were talking about how Daniel's provoking. Mr. Miyagi didn't actually attack them. They attacked him first. Now it's 2-on-4 or whatever the numbers are. So anyway, fast forward, I don't have much until after they go to the dojo and they make that challenge. Daniel pokes the bear at school. I mean,
absolutely.
He's asking for it right then and there.
I would throw in my Cobra Kai towel and beat the crap out of him at that point.
Yeah, watch out for that bus, really.
Don't go walk in front of any more buses. Like, come on. And walking with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, the ex-girlfriend thing, it is what it is. But, walking up and...
But I have to applaud Johnny's restraint.
Yes, Johnny restrained himself, because I think I would have said, screw the sensei, I'm done, and punched Daniel right in his punk face.
Yeah, and and I'm not gay by any stretch, but not there's anything wrong with that. But Johnny's much better looking than Danny is,
Oh yeah,
and I don't know. Johnny seems
even in 1980 standards.
exactly. I think Johnny's much cooler than Johnny, or he's much cooler than Danny. So I don't know why Allie. Danny's Johnny's a jerk, but still.
Yeah, and yeah. So and the next thing I have is the comment about Mr. Miyagi and his demon sorcery. I laugh, I giggle.
The unnatural strength by the demon sorcerer Miyagi.
Because I've tried. I don't know where it was magic. I've tried that whole hand thing. That shit doesn't work.
Well, I think the key point is being a demon sorcerer to begin with.
Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, and then they go to the tournament, and the whole rules never came up.
Correct.
I mean, you think at one point, okay, so I'm training on, I'm on the boat, I rock the boat, I fall off in the water, ha ha ha, joke's on me. But you think at some point the actual rules of conduct might come up for the tournament?
Yeah, except for as we're walking in.
Yeah, and I mean, and then they steal a black belt. I mean, what kind of example does that set?
Yeah.
So fake your way in, phone the whole thing in, train on a boat, and then steal a black belt. Or a white, whatever it was. They stole someone's belt. So there's some guy who actually paid his dues to be there who got his belt stolen from him.
Yeah.
Which no one ever addressed.
No. Well, and that brings up, as far as the rules are concerned, I was reading some of the comments on the actual YouTube video. One thing that gets brought up, and I haven't seen the movie recently enough to know if it's a fact or not, but Daniel wins at the end by a kick to the face.
Right.
Now, if I recall correctly, somebody else earlier in the tournament is penalized for a kick to the face.
Really?
Yeah. But I was reading that on the comments, but as soon as Daniel does the crane kick, kicks Johnny in the face, he's automatically awarded winner.
Huh.
Now, the question becomes, and again, I haven't seen the video recently enough. It looks like there's like 7,000 and something comments on the YouTube site. I didn't read them all. But some people are saying no, the rules say specifically no kicks to the face, and then somebody else says no, there are kicks allowed to the face, but then somebody said no. One of the earlier fights they show, somebody's penalized for a kick to the face, so if that's the case, if kicks to the face weren't allowed, then how the hell did Johnny even win?
And Danny?
Or I'm sorry, yeah, how did Danny even win? Because he won with a kick to the face. So
I don't know, that's a good point.
So basically, they changed the rules for this punk kid. He like bribed the judges and the referees and stuff. So
I don't know. That's actually worth going back and watching.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna have to find it now and watch. So
I tried watching it. As I said, I won't buy it. It's not on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's not on Hulu. I tried watching it on YouTube and I can't find it.
Yeah, and just the last comment. I hope you choke on your blood trophy.
You rotten little prick.
You rotten little prick.
I mean, I did hate Danny through the whole thing.
He's kind of a bitch.
Yeah, he really was, and I don't know, but the whole kick to the face thing, it was funny because I never was in karate ever, but I remember when I was like in 5th grade, I think I went to the school library and got a book on karate. And like the only move I ever learned, or I should say I actually read in that book, was the crane kick. So I kind of had like a connection, I guess, to that.
That's funny.
Not that I ever claimed to be a karate master or even fluent in karate or even tried to even use the crane kick. But I was like, the crane kick when I saw it the very first time. But I don't know, but that video was absolutely hilarious. And there is a lot of stuff that he could have avoided. I mean,
absolutely.
By just being, just a general pacifist, like most people are by nature.
Yeah.
No, but he chose to put himself in those positions.
Absolutely, he did.
But at any rate, if you had never seen the movie and then you watch this video, then you watch the movie, I imagine it probably would be a little bit different for you because you're like, yeah, screw Danny. Yeah,
it definitely would. You'd be like, oh, this is a bullshit movie. The hero doesn't even win.
Exactly. So watching and then someone had actually said on on his YouTube channel, some comments or some response video, whatever, that he had actually stolen the whole idea that that Danny was the bully from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Barney. You watch that show?
I've never watched it.
Oh, it's an awesome show. Well, Barney is played by Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay.
And he describes Karate Kid as being a basically the whole movie is from Johnny's perspective.
Oh.
But whereas it's a story where the hero loses.
Yeah.
But like I said, having never seen the movie, if you listen to J. Matthew Turner's video and then watch Karate Kid, you might see it in a different light. But actually, having seen the movie, a million times prior than watching his video, it's like, well, no kidding.
Yeah, it gives you a different perspective.
That's a damn good point. But like I said, I imagine having never seen it and then watching it, it might be a whole different experience for you.
Definitely.
Like I said, where the hero actually loses.
Yeah. So that's all I got on that.
That's all I have too. But I said more than wanting to discuss it, I just wanted to share it with the world because I think that video is absolutely hilarious. I think J. Matthew Turner is a genius.
Yep. We may have to visit some of his other videos too.
Oh, I have. I've actually watched a lot of them.
So
yeah, where Mortal Kombat and Enter the Dragon are actually the same movie.
Yeah.
And and he's actually got me not really to appreciate episode 1. But to actually kind of give it a little bit of leeway. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha. Well, there is one that's just posted. I don't know when he posted it, but it's episode or A New Hope is episode 7. It's the same movie.
Well, that's pretty much a given for the most part.
And that's the thing, is that I thought the exact same thing after we watched it.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I got off the whole, oh my God, it's a new Star Wars.
Yeah.
Or it was a real Star Wars, not like the first, or the episodes 1, 2, and 3. But I think actually it was done on purpose. I mean, I don't think Abrams is just going to sit back and just let the movie happen again. That's already happened. I think it happened that way. It was so similar to episode 4 to show parallels between Rey and Luke Skywalker.
Absolutely.
I think it was completely intentional. They weren't phoning it in. They weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. They were doing it with intention of showing parallels. So you can see the rise of Rey. So you can see the rise of Luke and actually make the comparisons.
Yep.
So all the people that that are basically dissing Star Wars 7 for being episode 4.
Yep.
That it was all on purpose.
I agree.
And I think in just response to episodes 1, 2, and 3, I think people are just so accustomed to trying to pigeonhole Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because they had from 99 to 05.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 05 to 2015. So basically you had, those 6 years of just bad, awful, garbage, trash, mistake, just abortion movies. And then having 10 years to stew over it.
Yeah.
Taking all that rage and pent up anger into episode 7 with the intention of trying to find holes in it. At the same time, having the conflict inside you, trying to, enjoy it. I think they're trying to find problems with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of nerd rage there.
Right, but like I said, I was looking for an apology for the for the second trilogy, and I got it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was a kid again. I was brought back to Return of the Jedi. Go see it with my dad.
Yep.
And like Kevin Smith, said when he had to visit the set, when he was walking on the Millennium Falcon, he was, 35 again. Walks up the ramp, he was 25 again. He walks, down the corridor, he was 10 again. He walked to the cockpit, he was 7 years old again. I actually relived my childhood with my father watching Return of the Jedi, with my kids watching Episode 7.
There you go.
So
a little bit off topic.
But Star Wars for me is always on topic.
That's true.
You
That
know,
is true. You can talk about that all day.
You give me an inch, I'll take 12 parsecs every single time.
Nice.
Yeah. But at any rate, that was Karate Kid. Daniel's the bully. That was my Star Wars tangent, and I forgot we talked about 2 seconds ago. But that is episode 8, and I am Sean.
I'm Chris.
And we are signing off.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
The Force will be with you, always.